give it everything you got, because I'm going to give you mine. If we do that, we're going to be successful.
There has been a handful of game changers to play in the NFL during the 2000s and the 2010s. One of them was Patrick Willis. Willis had an incredible run with the 49ers. He was selected with the 11th overall pick in 2007, drafted from Ole Miss. He was NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year. He went on to earn 7 Pro Bowl selections and 5 first-team All-Pro honors in his first 7 seasons. In hindsight, it almost seems more incredible than it did at the time. He would go on to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, as well as be selected to first-team All-Pro in the Pro Bowl. It would be first of many consecutive Pro Bowl selections and first-team All-Pros. Not only was Willis the hardest hitting player on the field, he was one of the fastest. The combination of the two resulted in Willis' stellar career, one that featured being a Pro Bowler for all but one season. There is simply no denying the talent of Willis. He's the all-time 49er leader in tackles and forced fumbles, and he only played 8 seasons. And just like any football fan with common sense would have known, he was on pace to enter the top 3 for tackles in NFL history. It was a matter of when and not if for Willis. Point blank, Willis is one of the best to ever suit up at linebacker. Without the consensus, people might start poking holes. Willis only played 7.5 seasons really, considering he missed half of 2014 with a toe injury. His 112 games played would be very low for a Hall of Famer. The average Hall of Famer played 160 games, and then the average modern day Hall of Famer played 185. Willis essentially is 4.5 seasons short of what a Hall of Famer should have played. Counting only players who started their career after the AFL began in 1960, only 2 Hall of Famers played in fewer games than Willis has, Gale Sayers and Kellen Winslow. The linebacker with the fewest games is Dick Butkus, and he played 119. Willis doesn't have a Super Bowl ring. He was never named MVP or Defensive Player of the Year. If you start to look hard enough, you can poke holes in his resume. Has Willis turned himself into the next Terrell Davis, the next victim of peak versus longevity debate? Willis deserves to be a Hall of Famer. He was the best defensive player in football over his career. Only Joe Thomas has matched his 5 Pro Bowl nods over that time period, and only 8 players made the Pro Bowl as often as Willis did, with DeMarcus Ware being the only defender on that list. The lack of a twilight to his career should not reduce the impact of the peak of his career. If you are the best at your position in your career, you belong in the Hall of Fame. If you are the best of an entire unit, then there shouldn't be any doubt. This isn't a Terrell Davis case. Davis produced 1 very good year and 3 incredible years, but then nothing else. Willis doubled that. 8 seasons is a long time, much longer than the average NFL career, and much longer than most players can stay solid for. Willis and Bowman teamed up for 3 seasons to form one of the most destructive linebacker combinations the league has ever seen, a part of a great defense. To go off topic, from about 2011 to 2013, the 49ers should have made at least 2 Super Bowl appearances. It sucks to see a team with so much talent not accomplish that, but they were going to lose Super Bowl 47 to the Ravens in their only appearance. Patrick's greatness is perfectly captured in his rise to legendary status, despite playing just 8 seasons and making 1 Super Bowl appearance. Look at the delays to let Terrell Owens in. Despite the praise, ability, and pedigree, the Hall will most likely keep him out, at least for his first couple of years. Longevity can't be ignored, and Patrick's brief career is what's going to keep him on the outside looking in. If he had gotten a Super Bowl ring, that may have swung a different direction. With respect to Ray Lewis, there's not a middle linebacker in the modern era that you can say is definitively better than Patrick Willis, a complete football player who can cover, play the run, make tackles from sideline to sideline, and hit like a Mack truck, and had the heart of a lion. The loss was a stunning blow for the 49ers. They were desperately trying to rebuild following the departure of Jim Harbaugh as well. It seems like all things fell apart for the 49ers. They lost half, if not all, of their key playmakers. And the young stud who looked like he would have taken over for Patrick smoothly, Chris Borland, retired his rookie year. Borland became the most prominent NFL player at the time to leave the game in his prime because of concerns about brain injuries, which is completely understandable. It also seems like players are starting to take their health into consideration as well, rather than the money. San Francisco lost its defensive captain, locker room leader, and the player who often addressed the team before games with inspirational pep talks. One mistake of the 49ers' downfall was allowing the team to get old and losing great players to retirement and free agency, without having solid young players in a pipeline ready to step up. Willis was on his way to putting together a solid Pro Football Hall of Fame career, but had decided to step away from the game at that point in his life. He had put together an impressive career up to that point, where he had established himself as arguably the top middle linebacker in the game. It was a time where he felt his desire to play was no longer where it was previously, which is a personal decision that he had more than enough conviction to follow through with to move on.
I feel like I have no regrets standing up here today, as I had no regrets, yesterday and the day before, as I know I will have no regrets tomorrow, because one thing I've always lived by is live by giving everything you got today, so that when you look back tomorrow, you don't feel ashamed because you left anything on the table. And I feel like in my 7 years, 7.5, 8 years, whatever you want to call it, I feel like there will not have been a day in my career that I don't feel like that I gave this game everything I had. And what's funny is that it's amazing what we see with the eyes, and instead of what we actually know. And man, if only I knew what it took to go out there on Sundays and play this game. Some of you really would sometimes probably just take a breath and be thankful that you get to have something to cover, that you get to have something to go out there and watch, that we do get to bring the kind of joy that we bring to this game.